Radiating from the heart of America and stretching from coast to coast and border to border, welcome to On Radio, the wireless industry's weekly download coming straight from the builders and newsmakers of everything wireless. Your host is Jim Tracy, and this is On Radio.
Here we are back again on radio, folks, with J.P. Jones of Safety LMS and Tower Turbine and Technologies. But really today, we're talking again about the NATE Legislative and Regulatory Committee, and we're spending time here in D.C. So also, we went and sat with, I'm going to call it alphabet soup, but I learned how to say it really fast, FMCSA, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. And so if you're a tower climber out there and you're thinking, well, they don't know who I am, well, think DOT. And yeah, they do know who you are. And we sat before them and we said, we might like drive for 3 or 4 hours to get to a place where we mob, and then we unload a snowcat and we traverse miles, maybe 2 hours up to the top, and then we do our work, and then it's 2 hours maybe to get down back to the truck to load the snowcat, and now we can't even drive home anymore but the work that we're doing is utility based, because if 911's not up and running, everybody gets fined, everybody gets mad, but nobody wants to actually understand the process of getting to the top of a mountain to keep 911 going. Or if you're in the plains of Texas, or we talked with Jimmy earlier today about down in Louisiana, they got swamp buggies, man. And you go all across the country, and these tower workers are doing amazing things, and they wouldn't even recognize them as a utility until we sat with FMCS.
Yeah, it made a big.
And now they call us the fourth utility.
It made a big difference during COVID as well. These guys could continue to get their work done without being sidelined all the time.
Absolutely. And then when natural disasters happen, all of a sudden people are recognizing that we have the workforce that actually keeps everything churning and running, right? And you've experienced that firsthand, haven't you?
I have. I spent a lot of time in the South Pacific, and I went through countless typhoons and hurricanes, and had steel and antennas blowing all over the Pacific Ocean. So, yeah, I'm definitely.
And now, every time there's a tornado or a hurricane or whatever, or earthquake, all of a sudden everybody's like, well, my cell phone works, but I can't make a call because the backhaul is down. That means like we really did our job well, but we need to make sure that we're protecting the rest of that infrastructure, which is one of the reasons we're in Washington. We want to make sure that we take really good care of our fiber runs and our backhaul.
You bet.
And then upcoming, they got this BEAD funding, which is the broadband funding, and they're going to do what Washington does really well. They're going to throw billions and billions of dollars at broadband, and all we want is a fair shake for our wireless folks to get a shot at it versus all fiber all the time, right? And so today is Hill Day, and we've got it might be all 50 states represented or close to it, but we've got like buku people from NATE who are coming to DC today. And what are we supposed to do with our members of Congress?
We're going to spread the word. We are going to spread the word. And to put them in front of the people that actually control what's going on in their state is huge. And they get to understand a little bit more, even about what we do as the Legislative and Regulatory Committee, and how difficult it can be. Because, once you get inside the Senate halls, it's a very intimidating place. I mean, you can feel the power in those hallways. And if you've never been here and you don't have anybody kind of help you along like you guys did for me, I would have been like, oh, heck no, take me back to Texas.
I'll pass. Speaking of Texas, you get to sit in front of some of the most powerful legislators on the planet. I mean, I remember me and you got a picture with Ted Cruz years ago, but we still go and talk to those folks. What would you say if you sat down with some of those legislators, or what are you going to say? What are some of the talking points that you have to like unload on them today?
Well, I think, we always struggle with workforce development, and we want to make sure that
Hmm.
any type of funding that's coming our way in the state of Texas can get distributed out to the telecom and the tower entities of the world. We can take advantage of it, whether it's
Hmm.
workforce development or funding for larger projects, improvement. We want to make sure that there, there's projects that aren't getting held up for silly reasons. Approval on new
Yeah.
sites is really in the dirt right now. So I would urge Congress to take a look at that and see if they can help the FAA with funding or whatever it takes to speed up the approval process of new sites.
Yeah. So we talk a lot about training with them. Like we have a workforce that's highly trained, highly skilled, should be respected, and we highlight for that them with that, and then we talk about opportunities, and a lot of the opportunities that cost our climbers work or time is just like the regulatory red tape. And when we come in here, we talk to folks. We say, hey, don't make it hard for us to connect America, and sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't, but we still have to make sure that we're
That's
heard, don't
right.
we?
That's right. And I think
Yeah. And that,
the you know
go ahead.
being that the senator is in town, and their staff really seems to help us out a lot, because we have met with not only the senators and the representatives, but their staff, and their staff is normally really good communicators back to the source. So we rely on them a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And so today, like we had breakfast and we kind of choreographed our plan. You got to, any good execution requires some advanced planning. So this morning we did some advanced planning, some logistics, with some folks who are really knowledgeable about how to get around, because even traffic control and walking and getting somewhere and getting through security, it all requires some logistical thought. And then you're going to take these 50 people and you're going to go boom, and you spread them in 50 directions. And you say, well, you're going to talk to this congressman and this senator and this staff member and this alphabet soup agency. And so how does that happen? How does that all come together under a single fly-in?
Well, I mean, we're lucky I'm especially lucky that the experience of this committee and leadership with Todd Schleckaway. I mean, the guy should have been born on Pennsylvania Avenue. He just knows his place like the back of his hand. And
Yeah.
even it breaks down to the simple fact that, we've had some excellent drivers, and we wouldn't have done half of what we had done had we not had, the boys in the black Suburbans that knew where to go. I mean, it really it's an art to get around here, but all these people are flying in on their own dime, and you know,
Hmm.
our leadership has just really laid it out, I think, really easily for us this time. And we're doubling what we had last time. I think we were like maybe 40, and we're at 90 people
Hmm.
showing up this time. So
Yeah.
it is a
Wow.
lot. I believe at the meeting at the restaurant this morning, uh, I heard mention of 150 separate meetings in one
Hmm.
day.
Yeah. And then there's a little party where we actually have members of Congress get invited and their staffs get invited, and it's in kind of in their building, and they get invited to come and just sit and ask us questions. Is that
It
not
is cool.
cool?
It is cool. And
I'm really looking forward to
yeah, a
that.
lot of them set up the coffees too, and that I found that always really really interesting when you actually can shake the person's hand and tell them what's on your mind, what's happening in Austin, Texas, right?
Yeah, tell us what a coffee looks like. I mean, tell our folks who aren't going to go there what it feels like to go to coffee at a senator's
Yeah, it's
office.
pretty cool. They have a pretty large open room with breakfast set up, kind of a continental style breakfast. And then, you
Hmm.
have your pre-planned order that you're going to be in. So all of us at night, be a group of five. And then, all of a sudden Ted Cruz walks in the door and, hey, everybody. And he kind of finds his spot over in the corner. And then you just kind of walk through there. It's almost like being at a wedding reception as you're going through, shaking the bride and groom's hands and wishing them, except you get, with Nate, we usually get, 5-10 minutes with the senator, and our plans are
Uh-huh.
well laid out. We know what we're going to say, and it seems to have always gone really well. So it's
Yeah, they coach us up. They coach us up pretty well on how
yeah,
not to
yeah.
talk, right?
And then you get your photo op with them. So if it didn't happen, if you don't have a photo, it didn't happen. Here's my
Yeah,
here's my
exactly.
example yesterday. I, I flew over
Wow,
I
that's
flew
pretty
over on the
cool.
plane from Cincinnati with former Speaker of the House John Boehner, and that was a really really cool event. What a
Wow.
super nice guy he was.
Yeah, and really, I'll use South Dakota for as an example because that's where I'm from. We went to the South Dakota breakfast, and they've got two senators, Senator Rounds and Senator Thune, and then the House member, all there at this one breakfast, and it's kind of like it's like the who's who of South Dakota politics. But you get to tell them, like with Senator Rounds, it's really cool. I said, you know what? We have programs for veterans. Well, he's on the Veterans Affairs Committee, and boy, all of a sudden the radar goes right up. He goes veterans, and boom, and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool because when you look at what we do, we have compressed time frames with high pressure. Lots of pressure to get stuff done. There's some risk involved anytime you're working at heights and small teams with super defined objectives. And I'm like, that really sounds a lot like special forces. And he's like, oh, you're right. And I said, so we welcome those people into our family because of the family they may have been over in Afghanistan or something like that. And all of a sudden, now the policies that he takes a part in developing might think about veterans in telecom, which is a win for them, win for us, and he's doing what the people elected him to do.
Yep, that's what helps
That's so
programs like
cool.
Warriors for Wireless be so successful.
Sure. And they'll probably, I mean, I don't know if Kevin's going to be around today, but I would guess that he's around the edges somewhere and going to be working too. He's been a guest on the podcast, and he's Lieutenant or Major General
Yep,
Kevin Kennedy is a
he
rock
is. He
star,
is. I
isn't
saw
he?
him last week at ConnectX. We actually had our board meeting
All
last week
right.
there. So yeah, good project.
Awesome. Sweet deal. So we're not wasting time here in DC, folks. We're certainly not wasting any money. If we are, it's we're wasting JP's money. And I want you to know, you heard it here first. We actually are engaged in the political process. And as we look at it, the reason that we're engaged is because of the climbers and the folks in the telecom industry. So, JP, you got anything you want to close up with to tell these guys some sort of encouragement about us being rubbing shoulders with Mucky Mucks in DC?
Yeah, just don't beat up the old guys. We're working hard for you. I started climbing when I was 15 years old. I know what it takes. I've been on the road, and we're striving for a safer uh, environment for all of our climbers, and we see more money and everything else that goes along with being a climber. So thanks for doing what you do, guys. I know it's not the job in the world, but it's been very rewarding for me, and I hope it is for you.
That really goes a long ways because everybody, we walk around these halls and stuff like that, but you see the 90 people that are coming in here. The tower industry is what actually built all of these people into what they are today. So anyway, I appreciate you, JP. I appreciate you carving out some of your DC time for us. Let's go win up on the hill, as they say. And like every other Thursday, I want you folks to remember, let's all choose safety today. This is Jim, and I am out.
Thanks for tuning in today, and join us every week. Tell your people to listen in and subscribe to On Radio, the voice of everything wireless.